So DXY, we've seen some upside. I was looking at a push higher this morning, and looks like it's kind of already happened. I might have missed the opportunity. Dropping to the 50-minute chart for it. I like the entry here, but I did miss that entry. I think that was like, yeah, about 5:45 a.m. And I'm not at the charts at that time, unfortunately. So yeah, price did make that move. I was looking to short euro, and in fairness, euro didn't really set up. I'm still interested in you shorting euro. We'll take a look at that in a moment. But yeah, I like the setup here. I think price has just about made some new highs. So it's a bit awkward now. It's a bit awkward now, I must admit, especially intraday, because we also have to be very careful with the higher time frame trend, which is looking pretty bearish. And we're coming into an area where a low high could fall. Now, am I looking to short the dollar here? Not really, not really. I'm not liking the setup that much. I could see potentially us failing at highs and a bit of downside intraday, but I wouldn't necessarily be banking on a complete sell-off, especially with the impulsivity of that move. Really strong push. I like the correction. We've seen somewhat of a continuation. It hasn't blown me away, but we have seen price just about take out the highs there. So we could start to fail at highs. Now we are coming back into supply, so I would be quite careful of the longs as well. But again, would I be looking to short? No, especially after price taking out this low here, which is, you know, the market coming into a new phase. Every time the market creates a trend, I'm always looking for price to always come back and take out the prior low. So once price does that, now I kind of back away and either wait for the next pullback to happen or see if the market continues to sell off or maybe consolidate. I'm waiting for the market to show me its hand, basically. And right now with the dollar, we've had a pullback, but again, it's equally a double bottom, it's equally a rejection. It's not like price ripped through the low and then pulled back. That's a different scenario. Now we've got price respecting the low and pushing up. So it is a nice place for a short there. But dropping to the intraday chart, let me invert that so I can see it from a bullish perspective. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. I probably would wait for a bit more development. I did really like the longs this morning from this area, but unfortunately Euro didn't quite do the job. And Euro, this is what I was looking at for Euro. Price to take out this high here on the 50-minute chart and then some sells. Because again, Euro is definitely bullish in the higher time frames, but I like the short off the momentum we've seen this week, of course, with the massive rejection we saw after the Fed interest rate. Of course, price taking out major highs to our left. So I really like the momentum we saw. But of course, as we do push down, we are coming back into bullish territory. We have to be very, very careful because equally we could still put another higher low and equally the market could still trend higher. So this morning I was keeping a very close eye on this area here. I wanted to see if price can run the highs there first. We had a lot of momentum here, potentially take out some early stops of some early sellers there, run the highs, and then give us the sell to go and take it back to the lows here. In respect, we haven't taken out the lows yet, so price might still go and do that move. It is asking a lot from the market, and if we do create a new low, I would say that setup's now invalid. I'm not really interested in still shorting the market at that area after we take out the low. But of course, that hasn't quite done. The market hasn't quite done that yet, so I am still quite interested with this area, but we would need that up move first back to 1.1793, see how price reacts. If things look good, then I'll look for the continuation, and also have to keep a close eye on the dollar as well. But as we do push back into these areas, this is back to bullish territory. Possibly price could be getting ready for a higher low. When I'm looking for shorts for euro, it's not necessarily a long-term bias because the trend is still very much to the upside. I just like the intraday opportunity for the short. This could very much be price getting ready to form a higher low to attack higher prices. I'm just not seeing the opportunity for that quite yet. So maybe if we do have one more up move, come back down, that might interest me, but I'm not the biggest fan of the pullback. It's nice and corrective, but just not how I want it to be in terms of my entries. I do like pullbacks which are a little bit more staggered and have bigger swings. I find the probability of price forming that low and pushing back up is a lot higher versus when the pullbacks are quite kind of rapid like this, a bit harder to catch the low. But yeah, I'm going to keep an eye from both perspectives for Euro. This area here from a bullish perspective and the highs there from an intraday short perspective. At the moment, not really trading at an area which I like to buy or sell. But if you can run the highs there, I think that's interesting. Or push to the lows, I'll keep an eye out for some longs. Pound USD was very interesting. That one sold off quite aggressively after the interest rates yesterday. Price had a really aggressive push down. So you got some USD strength followed by some pound weakness. So pound to start the week off was very, very bullish, looking for buys, looking for price to smack into 1.37, 1.375, maybe even some new highs past this point. But after the Fed, after Bank of England, that has completely turned around and price is now trading back below this area. I've been speaking a lot about these two levels here for pound, saying price is just trapped between these two levels. We're waiting for price to break out, and then hopefully we'll get a bit more information in terms of the next big swing and really find some opportunities, because I didn't really want to trade pound USD inside that range unless I was shorting the high or buying the low. I wasn't really prepared to be looking for opportunities in that area because it's so congested. After the breakout, I was happy to look for some longs, but of course now that price is back below, this looks like a big fake out to me, especially with the big exaggerated wick to the upside. Looks like prices run the highs, trap people on the wrong side, and now potentially could be getting ready for a bit of a sell back to the lower end. So I'm slightly a bit more bearish now for pound. I wouldn't be looking to sell it now because of course price is just trading at support right now. But I do like the idea of a pullback. I've now got a couple areas which I'm keeping an eye on, which are these two areas. This area, if I dropped like a 50-minute chart, was a very nice consolidation, which gave us a really strong drop. So I'm looking to see if price can potentially pull back into that and then give us some shorts for continuation. Or if we have a slightly bigger pullback, I'll probably look at the hourly chart for this, which is, again, just another retest of the same level. So, of course, resistance over there, resistance over there, resistance over there. Now looking to see if that can act as resistance again. And, of course, you do have this kind of up move, break to the downside, confluence, so acting like an area of supply in that same area as well. So I like both zones there for pound USD to the downside. One's a bit more intraday, one's a bit more swing, because if you do find a successful entry here, you could be looking to try and swing it back to these lows, so you do have that range to trade there potentially, so you could be looking at a pretty big risk reward play. But either which way, I'm not convinced with the buys for pound USD. I said coming to the week, if you do get the breakout here, price does need to stay above this level for me to maintain that bullish bias. Of course, that has not happened. Price is firmly broken below, so my bullish bias has been at least put on pause for now. If price does recover it, I'll reanalyze and reinvestigate, but I'm not looking to buy pound USD after that move. In terms of dollar CAD, I still do have a short bias for this one, but again, I'm playing it cautious. Price is still respecting support very, very well here. I'm looking to see potentially if the market's going to put another lower high in. One over there, second, could we be looking at a third potentially forming? I like this area here, nice consolidation, really aggressive move down, and altogether a very slow corrective move up. It's not like price has bounced and really aggressively pushed up. It's really corrective, similar to the move here, and you can see what happened after that, a really aggressive move back down. Are we looking at potentially the same characteristic and the same setup forming for a push back down? Well, I need a bit more information to judge that, but we are certainly on the same path. So keeping a very close eye on dollar CAD as we come back into this supply area, because of course that's where the momentum came from. Hourly chart still looking pretty corrective, but I do think price has probably got a bit more upside left. And then this is the area 1.383, 1.385 is where I'm going to be keeping a close eye on dollar CAD to see how price does develop in this area, and then potentially some shorts followed through. What I was really waiting for dollar CAD this week was the break of this low, similar to how pound USD broke the resistance. I was kind of hoping dollar CAD could do the same thing, break support aggressively, then look for some pullbacks back to the lows here. So that is really the plan there with dollar CAD in terms of really good probability opportunities, because in that case, that's a clear sign buyers are not holding anymore and we're seeing conviction lower, then I can bet on that continuing. So yeah, dollar CAD, my eyes are focused here and on the retest, of course, not quite there yet. It is Friday, so this is probably, if not for next week, maybe the week after, because we still need to form the lower high and come back down. So not so worried about that opportunity just yet, but keeping an eye on that lower high potentially forming. Aussie dollar, I do think there's more downside for this one as well. I was keeping an eye on some shorting opportunities for this one on an intraday level, kind of in a similar fashion to euro dollar. I would say that price looks really corrective here. So there's a clear sign that we're running out of some juice, but I really like how price formed that lower high and a really aggressive move down. So I'm looking to see maybe if we go and put another lower high in for a drop lower. Price right now is trading back below this high. So is this potentially another fake out? Is this potentially another top? If I zoom to the daily chart, you can see how corrective the market is. Has the market just gone and swept the highs to put another high in before coming back down? We could see that happen. Of course, that would rely on USD doing a complete U-turn and becoming strong again. And of course, maybe some Aussie weakness to help that out as well. But where we're positioned is very critical, because if this is going to be a high similar to what we did here and so on and so forth, there could be a lot of downside there for Aussie back into these lows. So I quite like the idea of shorts, especially again with the momentum we've seen. But it is still, excuse me, it is still counter trend. So I would be quite careful with the shorts as well. Same with Euro, same with DXY longs as well. I would be quite careful with them because momentum is still not really in our favor yet. Yes, recently the momentum has been since like Wednesday, but that could change pretty quickly as well. But I am looking at something like this for Aussie dollar, especially with how corrective price is there. New Zealand dollar, really aggressive move down. Again, New Zealand has been very, very weak since the news on Wednesday, was it? Or Thursday? Wednesday. A really aggressive move down. And I was looking to see if price could form a higher low here and potentially look for another bounce and take price higher. I mean, we could still do that, but this has been a really aggressive move down. So that would put me off the trade. I wanted price to kind of start slow down, become a bit more corrective. Then I'll be more intrigued with the buys. But this was really aggressive momentum, which does put me off. I mean, it's still in a bullish area, so I wouldn't really be looking to sell New Zealand dollar. But would I be trying to try and catch the low of that? No, not really either. Maybe if we start to consolidate, start to respect support, maybe show some strength with some momentum, like, there could be some pullbacks after that, but it's just a bit of a difficult opportunity with how aggressive we've made that move. So yeah, New Zealand dollar was somewhat liking it yesterday. The momentum did continue. I mean, we are starting to slow down now, but it's not enough, especially taking into account how we made the high and aggressive that move was. So we are still in the bullish area, so I would suggest keep an eye. I would wait for at least maybe price to form support over the next couple of days before considering to buy. Otherwise, I wouldn't be surprised if you just go and break structure completely and get back to the lows there. So I would be quite careful with New Zealand dollar. In terms of gold's interesting as well. Still trading at that demand zone. So I'm still pretty bullish on gold. Again, looking at the bigger picture, the market's been trending, very, very aggressively to the upside. So until I see price start to break structure or I see some really aggressive selling pressure, I'm not really going to look to change that bias or try and look for any counter trend opportunities just yet. All I'm seeing is really corrective behavior on the way down. Price still respecting demand zones. This is still very much a bullish opportunity for gold. So dropping to like an intraday chart. I mean, I do like how, again, we had a really aggressive move yesterday, but price just respected the low and came back up. I do think if you're looking for another long, you probably do want to see another run to the lows, because that's where the best place would be in terms of positioning, in terms of finding an entry, in terms of finding a stop loss, making sure you're away from all the noise. Trying to look for some opportunities within here could be a bit tricky. I mean, maybe a run back to the lows here could be interesting. That could be a nice place for a buy. Banking on another higher low forming. But again, the risk is that price could make that move there as well. But you could always re-enter as long as you're looking for a positive risk reward. There's nothing wrong with potentially getting stopped out on a good trade, potentially to win the next one. But yeah, I do have a bullish bias on gold. I like the wicks on the 4 hour as well. I like the close we had a couple candles ago too. And for the most part, this looks super corrective to me. So I would expect us to continue higher. So that's still very much the plan with gold. And in terms of silver, silver already seen some conviction higher. Again, a couple candles ago, we broke out of this consolidation. For me, that was a bit of a statement. And it looks like price has already had a decent retest with the wick there in the last 4 hour candle as well. And it's a very similar setup to gold. Lovely consolidation, healthy breakout. Price has now come back for the retest of that same zone. We formed the consolidation, a lot of wicks to the downside, really implying that demand zone is doing its job. And then we've just seen a strong candle closing above resistance there. So in terms of intraday opportunity, yeah, I would suggest if price can maybe come back and respect the lows again, that would be a very nice entry. Maybe even dip slightly below. Nice area there. All you're looking for is the continuation of this bullish leg. There's your first drop, second drop, and there's your buy. You can see price has been pretty continuous with these higher lows. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Pretty continuous with these higher lows, ever so slight over there. Now we're starting to pick up the pace a little bit. It'll be nice to see if we can catch one over there around 41.9. Got nice trendline confluence backing that up, and that's your nice intraday opportunity there. If you're looking for a bit more of a swing, it's a bit difficult because risk reward's a little bit tight. You got the highs right next to you there. Of course, you probably would bank on price breaking through them and continuing, but still equally price could roll over. At least intraday, you can still take advantage of a decent chunk and have a decent reward there, even if price does fail at highs. So yeah, gold, silver looking pretty bullish. USD question marks on that one.